Yeah, my name is Justin Porter. I'm a ex-JW, and I want to start doing YouTube videos and meet people and talk to people. If there's any ex-JWs out there, remember me. You know, I'd like to catch up with you. And sorry for shunning you if I ever did shun anyone out there, because I used to hate shunning, couldn't stand it. One of the things that actually made me leave was I went to a funeral of a pioneer sister in Bow Desert, and what happened is that an elder came up to my wife and I, Nicole, and said, "Oh, don't talk to the lady over there. It's Grace's daughter. She's disfellowshipped." I thought it's her mother's funeral, and I thought, oh, I'm going to ignore that. So I introduced myself to her, gave my condolences for her dead mother, who I love very much, and we used to give a lift to meetings, and gave her a hug and talked to her for about half an hour and got roused on after, oh, we told you not to talk to, the daughter. And I said, oh, really? Did you tell me that? And I just kind of ignored it, And my wife said, Justin, he did tell you not to talk, And so it really bothered me. And that was in 2015. But before that, in 2013, I got a smartphone, a smartphone. Little did I know a smartphone was going to make me smart. And when I discovered YouTube, I started doing YouTube videos, like looking up Jehovah's Witnesses, and oh my good, how fascinating and interesting the stories were. And I've never ever, I've been Jehovah's Witness for 22 years, never ever talked to apostate, or, because you're not allowed to talk to apostates. When I found out people got disfellowship for disagreeing with the Watchtower and speaking out against it, disagreeing with some teaching, you can get kicked out for that. I didn't know that. I always thought apostates were evil, but I thought, wow, are they telling the truth? So I just got hooked on them, hooked on the videos, and I watched the videos for 4 years in secret. And, I stopped going to the midweek meetings. I'd just go to the Sunday meeting. People started to soft shun me, kind of thing, like, oh, yeah, I'm coming to the midweek meetings, so I kind of got this soft shunning thing going on, and I, just looked into the Watchtower and looked into it, and I thought, are these things true? Is this true? The Royal Commission, I couldn't stop watching that, and I watched this thing on silent lambs, and I was from a congregation in Cooma, New South Wales, and a lot of people in these videos I knew. I knew the Silent Lambs. I knew Sonia Mortimer. Her Sonia Mortimer took my wife and I on a honeymoon, because we couldn't afford a honeymoon back in '98 when my wife and I died. She took us on a honeymoon, and this was in 1998. And when I found out that she'd been molested as a kid, and I knew the elder that covered it up, and I knew all this sort of stuff and information, and then I found out later that she'd been disfellowshipped for speaking out, and going to the police about it. I just thought, my good, and I knew the elder, John Wingate, who's dead now. I used to clean a pub with him, and I said, Nicky, look at this. This is, John Wingate. This is Sonia Mortimer. This Silent Lamb show. And I knew James Kerr too, and I knew Robert Souter, not a lot, but I knew all these people I knew on this Silent Lamb video, I thought, my God, we know all these. And like covering up all this thing, and it was on the news, and it really got me thinking. So I looked into, the Royal Commission, and I thought, what, there have been 1,006 pedophiles that they cover up, and it really bothered me. I thought, my goodness. And then I started looking into the old Watchtowers and Susan Gaskin videos and Lloyd Evan videos, and just start looking in at the videos and thinking, whoa, they're all telling the truth. And 4 years, 4 years I was looking at this and thinking, I've got to leave any day now. I'm going to leave Jehovah's Witnesses, but I didn't know when. Couldn't pick my time. I thought, when do I leave? I've got to get out of here. I can't stay here. And I just thought to myself, my goodness me, I've got to do, I just can't be in this organisation anymore, you know. But I'm going to lose all my friends and that. And so September 2018, I thought that's the 30th anniversary of me getting contacted at the door-to-door ministry back in September 1988 when I was 27. They knocked on my door. I was a marijuana pothead, heavy cigarette smoker, and I was visiting my dead, you know, mum and dad in the cemetery, and they died in the 60s, and at that time I'd been reading the Bible. 1988, I was 27, and I read the Bible for the first time and thought, wow, it was, a pretty amazing book, but it really bothered me about the hellfire thing and Revelation and all. And Jehovah's Witnesses came knocking on the doors, living with my big sister, invited them in, and they showed me Ecclesiastes 9:5. The living are conscious that they'll die, but the dead are conscious of nothing at all. And the very first Awake and Watchtower magazine I ever read was the 1989 one on preaching. This would be preached in all the inhabited earth. And there's one on AIDS. It was Awake on AIDS. And I just thought, whoa, this religion's incredible. And I was an agnostic at the time. I didn't know what to believe. I knew there was God, I knew there was something, and I thought there must be some purpose, but this just made sense. So I started studying the Bible, but it took me 8 years before I gave up marijuana and cigarettes, and so I was really into smoking things, I'd smoke, grass and cigarettes, and I could never give it up, And I used to think, I don't care if I die at Armageddon. I'd rather be happy and stoned than live, in this kind of religion that's so strict and don't let you listen to. I'm not gay, but I used to love listening to Elton John. He was always my favourite musician. And I liked Alice Cooper, Alice Cooper. And the Witnesses, it's not good, and I thought, I can't listen to this, you can't watch that, can't have long hair, you can't do this, you can't do that. And I thought, this religion's too strict and too oppressive, and I thought, I don't care if I just be dead forever, it doesn't bother me, So I never became one until 8 years later. 8 years later, so it took me 8 years, and when I got baptized in April 1996, and it was just a religion I couldn't really live by, at first, and then I got used to it, and I gave up marijuana, I gave up tobacco, and became a Jehovah's Witness, and got baptized when I was 35, and lived in Cooma, and met my wife in Cooma, New South Wales, and that's basically my story, and so I wasn't born into it. I wasn't born into it all. Actually, my upbringing was non-religious. I had no religion in my family at all, really. None of my family was religious. Agnostic, atheist, I suppose you'd call. And that was basically the thing. And going to the cemetery in 1988 and sitting on top of my grandmother's grave, thinking, "Where are you?" 6 foot under, you know. Where are you? And my mum was in North Sydney Cemetery. She died at 30, and my dad was cremated. He suicided, my dad, when I was 8 years old. He suicided. He was a doctor. He wrote a suicide note 1969 when I was 8. I was in an orphanage. 1969, so wrote a suicide letter, and he took Nembutal to kill himself. And it just really kind of, death, a lot of death. And I always wondered what happens at death. And when I was 13, 12 maybe, 1973, I was wondering, Mum's in heaven, is she? Like, what's she doing up there? I want her down on earth. I always used to think that. So, because she died when I was 1 in 1962 from an asthma attack. My dad went mad with grief. He was a doctor. And, when he suicided, I was 8 and he was 38. And what happened, he suicided with Nembutal, and his ashes were spread at Parramatta Psychiatric Centre. He was a doctor. And, so in 1988, I was visiting cemeteries and things, and I read the Bible. I had a Bible because I went to Christian Brothers High School from 1975 to 1977. I'd never read the Bible, ever read it. And when I was in high school, I was actually more of an atheist than agnostic. I was really into evolution. I thought evolution was true. I thought white people like me evolved from chimpanzees. I thought redheads evolved from orangutans. I thought black people evolved from gorillas. So I was really into evolution, because when I was in high school, the hellfire thing really bothered me. It really bothered me, the hellfire thing, because I remember in 1976 when I was 15, I asked one of the Christian brothers at school, what does people commit suicide, He didn't know my dad had suicided, and he said, they burn in hell forever. And I just thought, really? I hate God. God's a bastard, Mind the language, but I thought, no way. It just turned me off the Bible. So I stopped going to church, and I became an atheist. And any kid that believed in God when I was at high school would say, no, it's not true. It's evolution, it's all natural and things. So I did stop becoming a Christian because of the hellfire thing. And when I read the Bible in 1988, it does teach hellfire. That's why I don't believe in it. I don't believe in the Bible now. I don't believe in the Bible at all, actually. I'm a real agnostic now, more than an atheist. I'm an atheist agnostic. To me, if there was a God, why doesn't he write on the full moon at night? Messages at night time in all different languages so the world can see. Why doesn't he do that? If he really wants to contact, why write it on paper and stone and leather and things? So I was a Jehovah's Witness for 22 years. I got baptised in 1996 and knocked on people's doors for 22 years and fully believed in it. Up until the last 4 years. The last 4 years of it I just pretended. Because I didn't want to leave. I didn't want to lose all my friends. I didn't have any other friends but Jehovah's Witnesses. So it was a really difficult kind of thing, So I had to get out and had to go, and it was just something I had to do. Couldn't stay there anymore, I've got a Band-Aid on my nose. Nose the Band-Aid? I'll show the Band-Aid on my nose. It's because I'll show you. I'll take the Band-Aid off. It's nothing serious. It's just like, what? This it. Digs into, it's the little thing that digs in the glasses. Look at those glasses. So it digs into the side of the thing with the thing, So they're the little, but I'll take them off. The Band-Aid off. So it's just a dingy thing. It's all better now. But so what happened was basically I did me research, didn't like the way people treated at funerals. I went to another funeral of an elderly brother, and his granddaughter was there. She was about 20 or something, and she was being shunned. She was being shunned at her own grandfather's funeral. And I didn't speak to her because her elder was a dad, and I thought I'd get ruined in trouble, never did. And she was in tears at the funeral, tears because her grandfather had died, but I think they were really tears over being shunned, and she wasn't invited to the wake. You know, like, can't you believe that? That's the thing what's really made me leave. You know, there's so many things. I wanted to stay a Jehovah's Witness. I didn't leave it. The research, just the research. I researched not as an excuse to leave the religion, but as an excuse to stay. I needed something, you know, this can't be true, but it is. So September, which was the 30th anniversary of first being knocked on the door in September 1988, I just wrote a letter. And then I found out that the elders don't read your dissociation letters. If you write a dissociation letters while you're leaving, they don't read them. All they read is the top line. No longer want to be a J-double. Right. In the bin. You can write a 10-page letter. And when I found out about that with elders, I think it was on JW Critical Thinker, when I found out about that, all I wrote was, I, Justin Potter, no longer want to be a Jehovah's Witness. jwfax.com. That's all I wrote. That's all I wrote and put in the mailbox. And they rang me up and said, you know, we got your letter. You want us to come and see you so you could change your mind? I said, no, I've made up my mind. And they said, will you be there on Tuesday night when the announcement is made that you're no longer one of J-Dubs? And I said, no, I won't be there at the meeting. I won't be there. So I told my friends I was leaving, and they cried. My friends, actually, I had 4 people that actually got into tears like I'd been killed in a car crash. Don't go, Justin, don't leave. I said, I can't stay. I know things that, you know, and I wanted to share what I knew with them, but it's like a brick wall. You know, it's like they just, doesn't matter what you say, you're wrong. You know, because Jehovah's Witnesses are right. And they were actually in tears. I was leaving, tears. I said, I'm still going to say hello to you. And I do. Whenever I see them in the street, I never shun them. I rang up a couple of my friends, you know, I rang them up and, you know, and say, hey, you know, how you been? And some hang up and still some talk. Why'd you leave? Why'd you leave? Well, it was research, basically, research, you know. Even didn't Jesus say that make sure of all things and don't believe every inspired expression, test the inspired expression? Do you ever wonder why we don't have ministry schools at night explaining why, you know, how to talk to apostates? You know, how to ministry. Such a brother, such and such, sister is going to talk about apostates. Now, this apostate says that Jehovah's Witnesses hide pedophiles. Brother, sister, go and you talk and explain why. Or this apostate says that 607 isn't an accurate year, it's 536. 587 is a more act. Brother such and such is going to explain why 587 is not true and the apostates are wrong. This brother says that the organisation tried to hide 1975 and blame it on the members. So things like this, you know. They should be on the ministry school. You know, the apostates are really lying. Why can't we learn to talk to them? My God, I look old. I look so old in the video. I really am an old man. But it's nearly been 20 minutes now. But I hope, I've been thinking a long time about making YouTube videos, and because it's important to me that this organisation does hurt people. I was going to move on with my life. And when I look at stories of people losing their parents, their kids, their brothers and sisters, you know, won't talk to them, it really hurts me. You know, I got out pretty easy, but it does really hurt me. And I think, why don't we all add our voice to this thing? You know, because it's going to help someone. This is my first video. I will make more. And bye now for now.